project for my Introduction to Psychology class at UCR. Today, I'll be breaking down an important concept in psychology, deductive and inductive reasoning. Before we dive in, let's quickly define our topic. Deductive reasoning moves from general to specific, while inductive reasoning moves from specific to general. In this video, I'll explain the differences between these two ways of thinking, give you clear examples, and show how we use them in everyday life. Let's start with deductive reasoning. This type of thinking begins with a general principle and applies it to a specific case. If the general principle is true, then the conclusion will always be true. Here's an example. All mammals have a backbone. A cheetah is a mammal. Therefore, a cheetah has a backbone. Simple, right? The conclusion is logically certain as long as the premises are true. Now, let's apply this to a real-life situation. If all UCR students need a student ID to enter the library, and I am a UCR student, then I need a student ID to enter the Rivera Library. Again, the reasoning follows a set structure that guarantees the conclusion. Strengths of deductive reasoning could be it leads to conclusions that are logically certain when the premises are correct. It's commonly used in math, science, and law to prove theories and solve problems. Limitations of deductive reasoning include if the initial premise is incorrect, the entire argument falls apart. This is sometimes called the garbage in, garbage out problem. Now, let's talk about inductive reasoning. This is the opposite of deductive reasoning. It starts with specific observations and forms a general conclusion. For example, athletes who follow a strength and conditioning program improve their sprint speed. Therefore, strength and conditioning programs enhance sprint performance for most athletes. But is this actually true? Not necessarily. Although it is a great start, there are many factors that go into it, like consistency, intensity, structure, and exercise selection. Another example could be every summer for the past 5 years in Riverside, temperatures have exceeded 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Next summer, we'll have temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And although this is definitely a good guess, it is not for certain. Possibly some random weather patterns or climate conditions may cause Riverside to cool down to only 85 during the summer. Some strengths of inductive reasoning include it helps us make predictions based on experience. It uses science, business trends, and daily decision making to come to conclusions. Some limitations could be the conclusion is probable but not guaranteed. New evidence can always prove it wrong. So, to sum it all up, deductive reasoning starts with a general rule and applies to a specific case. It's great for logic and certainty, but only if the initial premise is incorrect. Inductive reasoning takes specific observations and makes a general rule. It helps with predictions, but it's never 100% guaranteed. We use both types of reasoning in everyday life to make decisions and solve problems. And some of the resources that I used were OpenStack Psychology 2E, and I used Chapter 2.1, Why is Research Important? And in addition, I used a YouTube video from a channel called Life Science, and it was called Deductive versus Inductive versus Abductive Reasoning. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, feel free to ask me questions or leave comments. See you next time.